In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to refresh a pivot table in Google Sheets. If you've ever wondered why your pivot table doesn't seem to change when your data does, the good news is that Google Sheets handles most of this for you. Pivot tables automatically refresh as soon as you edit or update values that are already inside their existing source range. That means if you correct a typo, change a number, or update a category within the range the pivot table is built from, your pivot will recalculate right away. No manual refresh button needed. Where people usually run into trouble is when they add new rows of data below the original range. If the pivot table was created from a fixed block, and you paste a new row, that new row sits outside the source range. So the pivot can't see it. The simplest way to make sure your pivot table always stays up to date, even as you keep adding data, is to switch the source to an open-ended range that uses entire columns. Here is how to do that. Click anywhere inside your pivot table. This opens the pivot table editor on the right side of your screen. At the top of that panel, look for the data range field. You'll likely see something like a reference with specific start and end rows. Edit that range so it uses full columns instead of specific row numbers. For example, if your data lives across columns A through G, change it to A to G. Press Enter, and the pivot table will instantly recalculate using the entire columns. From now on, every time you add a new row at the bottom of your sheet within those columns, the pivot table will automatically include it. A couple of quick tips to keep everything running smoothly. Make sure your headers are in the first row of that range and are labeled clearly because the pivot uses those headers to build rows, columns, and values. Keep your data types consistent within each column, numbers as numbers, dates as dates, and text as text so the pivot can summarize correctly. If performance ever feels slow on very large sheets, consider trimming unused extra columns to just the ones your pivot needs. And avoid merged cells within your data range, as they can confuse how the pivot reads your table. That's it. Thanks for watching.